During our fall quarter, I chose to write my final paper on the question, do eating habits affect your mental health? I wanted to see if there was any correlation to unhealthy eating with one's mental health. While I was doing research on this topic, I realized that there is in fact a negative correlation between the two, meaning the more unhealthy foods you eat, specifically fast foods and sodas, the lower your general health, happiness, and sleep satisfaction go, and the higher your stress and depressive symptoms go. One of my sources from SA3 includes this table from its study. Um, People that responded with eating vegetables, drinking milk, or eating fruits had a higher perceived general health, while those who skipped breakfast, ate fast food, or had soft drinks had much lower general health. The same trend follows perceived oral health, perceived happiness, and perceived sleep satisfaction. People that responded with skipping breakfast, eating fast food, and having soft drinks had much higher perceived stress levels and depressive moods, and much lower perceived general health, oral health, happiness, and sleep satisfaction. The factor that led to the highest depressive mood and perceived stress was fast food. So stay away from fast food. College writing is great because it allows you to really dive into a topic that you are interested in, rather than high school level English where you are forced to write about a book chosen by your teachers. For my final paper, I have chosen to continue my research that I started in the fall and expand it into a more modern and applicable sense. Today, the percentage of college students that deal with depression and anxiety is higher than ever. That being said, I am curious what role university dining halls play in this. Dining halls are infamous for their unhealthy food choices, expensive prices, and fast food like meals. And I want to see what the relationship is between this and university statistics of depression, anxiety, and possibly even suicide rates. College is great. However, due to the drastic change from being at home, it can cause loads of stress on 18 or 19-year-olds. Before I dive into my research about university dining halls, I need to find some evidence that students are in fact struggling with depression and anxiety. Katie Riley from Time magazine wrote an article about a student athlete from the University of Richmond back in 2014. Nellie Spigner, who arrived at Richmond with high hopes as a Division I athlete, fortunately fell to the level of stress she encountered her freshman year. She began skipping meals, and one thing led to another, and then she started skipping practices. Eventually, she was kicked off the team for skipping too many. During the fall of her sophomore year, she dropped out of college on medical leave. This reflects the intense pressures that college has on students, and if not taken more seriously, can result in a higher percentage of dropouts. The article continues with more interesting facts on college students with depression. The author says, between 2009 and 2015, the number of students visiting counseling centers increased by about 30% on average. In spring 2017, nearly 40% of college students said they had felt so depressed in the prior year that it was difficult for them to function, and 61% of students said they had felt overwhelming anxiety in the same time period. According to an American College Health Association survey of more than 63,000 students at 92 schools. This led me to the conclusion that um, This leads me to the conclusion that more and more college students deal with depression and anxiety, so why not begin to look into the role that university dining halls play into it? This source was written by Katie Riley, a reporter for Time magazine. This article begins with a story about a Division I athlete who crumbles under the stress of classes, grades, sports, social life, and college as a whole. The author explains how she slowly becomes more and more antisocial and depressed over time until she finally decides to reach out to a psychiatrist. Riley continues the article by opening up the topic to mental health around all college campuses and how serious of an issue it has become, and how the statistics keep going up and up. The main claim of this essay is that college students are being overstressed, which is leading them to developing depression, anxiety, and sometimes even suicidal thoughts. A lot of facts and statistics are used to support her claim, which is a good thing because it avoids room for bias. By showing the statistics she did, it makes the reader latch onto her claim. In a source written by Sam Abraham from Bethel College in Indiana, evidence is shown regarding college students' knowledge on nutrition and their basic eating habits. A survey was distributed to over 100 current college students who are 18 and older. The results from the study said that the students are knowledgeable that consuming fast food, soda, and processed foods are unhealthy and they contain additives. However, even though the majority admitted eating fresh fruits, a significant number consume processed foods such as chips, cookies, and cereal based on convenience. To summarize this, the author says students have a fair knowledge of nutritional requirements for health. However, food choices they make are not necessarily healthy. Convenience and taste of food were priority. This tells me that university dining halls have too much unhealthy food on display at all times. For example, if a student just finished working in the library and it's midnight and they're hungry, odds are the only option available in his or her dining hall is most likely a bag of chips, a cookie, or something else unhealthy, instead of fresh fruit or more healthy choices. In Benson, I would argue that there are two food options that are more healthy than everything else in the dining hall. They are the salad bar and the sandwich bar. These two locations have the fewest amount of hours compared to La Perla, Fire, the Cellar, and the Mission Bakery Cafe. If I'm a student coming in late at night, I am left with no option except to buy unhealthy food because I literally have no other option. I think a step in the right direction could be to flip the hours of some of the restaurants with the unhealthy and healthy options. For example, make sure that the salad and sandwich bar open much later and don't close in the middle of the day. And make sure that the unhealthy options like Fire, La Perla, the Cellar, and Mission Bakery Cafe are closed earlier to allow students to choose the unhealthy option when those are the only things open. An article written by Jessica Faringo talks about how dining hall food options are very repetitive and expensive, specifically the Arizona State University dining hall. She brings up the term freshman 15 and explains why it is so popular by saying, college students often do not have the time or the budget for a healthy and tasty diet. Students across campus are involved in a wide range of extracurriculars, which makes up a lot of time when you also have to deal with 16 units of classes to manage. The university itself needs to take it into their own hands to help the student make healthier food choices so that students don't have to make the decision between getting a cheeseburger and fries or a Caesar salad with an apple. Another point that Faringo addresses is how repetitive the options are. She interviewed a student asking about food options in ASU's dining hall, and she said, variety is always good in a diet, and sometimes I feel like I don't get that in a dining hall. I like changing up my meals. I like going to Subway and Chick-fil-A when I want to. This idea means that students turn to fast food restaurants more often than they do their own dining hall, resulting in 2/3 of college freshmen gaining weight. While I was researching for Essay 3 in the fall, I came across the point that gaining weight leads to lower happiness and general health overall. This proves that dining halls do lead to students' drop in happiness and rise in depression, as weight gain is a contributor to mental health issues. Despite this, ASU has a dining hall called the Barrett Dining Hall, which is only accessible to students in the Barrett, aka the Honors College dorms, meaning only the students who live in that dorm are able to use their access cards at this dining hall. All other students who aren't part of this dorm have to use real money if they want to eat here. According to Arizona State, this dining hall offers upscale menu items, a combination of local, organic, and sustainable foods, ethnic foods, sushi, and signature desserts. This kind of dining should be accessible to all students, not just a select few. While some students are eating healthy foods, others are being served the same cold food that they had yesterday. ASU has an undergrad student body of approximately 42,000 students, which means there are around 11,000 freshmen. ASU needs to expand the options from the Barrett Dining Hall to more of the dining locations around campus because their wellness statistics are not great. In the last 12 months, 48.5% of all students felt so depressed that it was difficult to function, and 15.4% seriously considered attempting suicide. ASU needs to address this issue regarding their students' mental health and a possible first step for them is to change up their dining hall system because, from what it seems like, students eat from fast food restaurants more than they do their own dining hall. I would love to see what the change in those statistics are if ASU did in fact change the plan on their dining halls. Jessica Faringo, a journalist who works for the state press, Faringo is trying to spread awareness of the unhealthy dining halls at popular colleges, specifically Arizona State. If parents see this, they might advise their high school age children to choose a different college to attend because of their dining hall. The main claim of this source is that universities need to improve their dining halls so that students are more enticed to eat there instead of going to other fast food restaurants close to campus. To support this, the author included quotes and statistics from various students. College students across the country are experiencing mass amounts of stress and anxiety due to a number of different factors, ranging from workload, social stress, homesickness, or anything in general, really. These stress factors lead students to have depression, which sometimes can result in dropouts or even suicides. As I have researched before, eating habits do have a correlation with one's mental health. The better your eating habits are, and the healthier food you're putting in your body, the happier you'll be, the less stressed you'll be, and the less depressed you'll be. However, putting fast food, soda, and other processed foods into your system will result in lower perceived general happiness, higher stress levels, and more depressive moods. Certain university dining halls have such bad food options that students choose to eat at local fast food restaurants, then use dining points and get a free meal. The high consumption of fast food these students have leads them to gain weight and become more depressed. In conclusion, university dining halls need to incorporate more natural and organic food options so that students don't need to resort to local chains and restaurants instead of their own dining hall.